make this a little intimate over here. Nobody blames me for that, right? It's James Marsters, after all. Okay. So we have 2 microphones for you guys. One there, one there. Line up if you would like to have questions. We will try to get through as many of you as is possible. If not, please go over to his table tomorrow and ask all of the questions that you did not get a chance to ask for today. And without further ado, let's bring out the man who taught us that a leather trench in the summer is super sexy, James Marsters!
Hello, beautiful people. Hey, can I ask a favor before we start?
Yes.
Okay, guys. Video? I take a little video of anyone that is cosplaying, as you know, in any show that I've been in, and then I cut that together and put it on social media. But I'd like to give them a round of applause, you know, which is where I'd like to ask you guys, if you don't mind. If I say action, can you guys raise your hands and scream like your team won the binky or whatever they played 46? Is that cool? Yeah. Okay.
So short, I have to.
Everybody's watching this. I don't really need a microphone. I spent 20 years learning how to not have to use one. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3. So you look so rock and roll. All right, I'm all yours.
Oh. We're gonna go right to questions then, because I can't have that for myself. That's too many things. Robin.
Hello.
Hey.
So you played Captain John Hart in the acclaimed show Torchwood. And you did an amazing job, by the way.
Thank you.
I was wondering if you had any ideas in your mind about some adventures that John Hart might have had that we unfortunately didn't get to see because he wasn't, for some reason, the star of the show as he should have been.
Well, you know, I did ask Russell if I could go over and be on Who, and he goes, no, you're way too naughty for Who.
You could have used the naughtiness.
Yeah, well, I said, well, make me less naughty. He's like, no, that's not the character. You're like, the whole thing is naughty. That's you. I'm like, well, it's true. You know, I don't know. You know, like people ask me about like what roles have you wanted to play that you haven't played, or what scripts would you like to do, or storyline. And if you ask an actor what they think would be a good story for them, the answer you will get is some version of Make Me Look Cool, which is only so interesting, really. And so I find that it's better to wait for the writers to come up with something better than I would, you know, or less egotistical, actually, and then let them do it. And so I can't give you a good answer for that. Sorry. But I think, how about this? How about Captain John as the new Who? That would be fun. Like an evil Doctor Who.
He was a Time Lord all along.
Yeah, exactly. Just give him a little raise and he'll take over for a while, you know. Oh, I'm sorry,
Thank
but
you.
great cosplay. By the way, you guys can ask me anything that you want. If you want to try to embarrass me, bring it. I am shameless, so do your worst. I won't promise to answer any question that you ask. I might say no. But hey, try, whatever.
Is everyone in this panel 21 and over?
That's the best question. How many kids do we have in the audience? Hands?
No, you don't
Cool.
count.
Okay. So, guys, we can talk about anything, but if we use the right words with a mind to who's in the audience, then we'll probably be able to get away with almost anything.
Oh, we can get away with it. It'll be fine.
But yeah.
It's Florida. Yeah, okay. It'll be fine. Let's over the other side.
Okay, hey. Well, I'm single, so will you marry me?
Did you bring her?
You are
How's
beautiful.
that? How is that?
You are beautiful and you're
so
smart, which is really good. But I'm still going through a divorce.
Yeah,
so
I know.
I'm still kind of singed, you know, like not
Still kind of
quite
protecting
ready
your
to.
heart a little bit. I actually wanted to ask you, I heard a rumor, I think you might have spread it actually, that they offered you Spike's jacket, but you didn't want it because it was all like nasty and full of like blood and stuff. Is that true?
Well, but both of those things are true, but they're decoupled. So I used to offer my jacket to Sarah on cold nights to be a gentleman, and she really appreciated that.
Sweetie.
Like in season 2 and 3, she appreciated it. But there's only one jacket for 6 years, and I fought in it and sweated in it, and demons bled on it, and they threw muck on it, and they would clean it and stuff. But after a few years, I would offer her my coat. She'd be like, "Oh no. Get away from me." She's too smart for me. Yeah, they said I could steal the coat and they wouldn't tell on me, the costume department. And I used to have a theater in Chicago and then in Seattle, and I hated actors who stole my costumes. That just drove me crazy. And so I was like, no, I don't steal costumes, thank you very much. Plus, I don't know what I would do with that coat. Like, am I gonna wear it to parties? And then people are like, man, that guy can't move on. Or like wear it at midnight when I'm all alone in my house, like I still got it, don't I?
Well,
Or
yeah. I
like
think we'd
put
agree.
it on a mannequin so that when people come over they can see the spike.
I think we'd agree Spike wouldn't be anything without his jacket.
I know, but I'm the one person who can't have that coat, you know? So anyway, so I didn't steal it, and then 3 days later, I read in an article that 20th Century Fox sold it to a collector for $250,000, and I was just like, I'm a father and an actor, and I would like my kids to go to college. Those things don't usually mix, you know? And like, idiot. That's the thing to do with a coat. Sell it. But I didn't. But I have moral superiority.
Oh, she also is wearing leather. Nice jacket. Thank you. So on Buffy the Vampire Slayer playing Spike, there's an episode in season 4 I watched last night again, A Fool for Love, where he's revealed to be a much more romantic and sensitive character, especially before he becomes a vampire. And I was wondering, my understanding is you were originally brought in for a short run on the show that grew exponentially. Is that sensitivity something that you brought to the character early on, or were thinking about early on, or when did you start to kind of incorporate that into the character, and how did you, I guess, learn that aspect of the character?
That's a really good question. Like, they told me when I got Spike, they said, you are a soulless vampire who loves no one and cares for nothing. Because vampires on Buffy, first of all, we're not interested in making evil look cool. Evil is not cool. It is pathetic. It is laughable. It's disgusting. It ain't cool. And I respected that. But they also told me that I was there for 5 to 10 episodes. If they really like the character, if the audience really likes the character, you get 10. And if they don't like you as much, you get 5. And I had been poor for like 15 years as a theater actor. And then I had a son. And that's why I moved down to LA. So I was down there to try to get some, college money, diaper money, together. And they turned their back after the conversation. Because I said, you got it. No soul, got it. And they turned their back and I was like, F that. Like, if I play it like that, they're gonna kill me off in 5. For sure. But I've got to connect with the audience if I'm gonna get to the 10, because they were paying me more than I'd ever been paid before. If you find the love in something as an artist, that's where the jet fuel is. That's where the gold in the mountain is. That's how you connect with the audience. And so for me, initially it was the love of murder, but also of Drusilla, you know? And so I actually played against the script. I remember there was a scene where Drusilla is like lying on a table, she's staring up at the ceiling, talking about the stars, and Spike's like, also, that's not the stars, it's the ceiling. And on the page, he's being kind of a jerk to her, actually. And I thought, I gotta undercut that completely. I've gotta turn that right around. So I just like leaned on my chin, I was like, I love that about you, Drew. You can see stars in anything, you know? And so I undercut the theme of the show. Out of selfishness of fatherhood. So that was true. But as far as going back and meeting William, you know, Spike before Spike, I used to get asked in interviews like, what was Spike like before he was a vampire? Was he a badass even before then? I was like, oh yeah. Character like that? Oh, he was a punk rocker before, obvious, you know? And when they wrote that script and I saw that character, I felt kind of exposed because I'm probably a little closer to William in real life than Spike. I mean, who's close to that? Who's not in jail? You know? And I was like, damn it! The whole world thinks I'm cool, and then you're gonna show them that I'm just like a fanboy. Come on, man. But I decided that probably the audience was not going to like that character. They were not going to want to see that. But I was going to be the one person on earth to fight for him and to love him and to show some dignity in him. And that was kind of my mission when we were filming it. Yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
I feel that whole diaper money thing, man. I feel that diaper money thing. Yeah, anything for the diapers. Those things are expensive. Girl. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Zan, and my question is, you talked a lot about your years in the theater. Is there a favorite performance you've gotten to give on stage, or if you're not comfortable answering that one, you're still looking forward to giving one day?
No, there's a lot that I'm really proud of. I could go on and on. There was a Macbeth that I did right before I came to Los Angeles, up in Seattle. Macbeth is low-hanging fruit. It's known as one of the masterpieces, but whenever you see it, it sucks. Why is that? And I read a really good book that really said, this is why the play doesn't work. These are the mistakes most people make. And I took notes, and I fought for the way I thought it should be. And we had such a hit that the artistic director lost his job over it because the board of directors hired a bigger gun. But it was a massive hit. But I had to swim upstream for that. You know, I had to fight against the director who wanted to direct it like it normally is done. Like, Lady Macbeth is not a. That's the big mistake people make. She's a strong woman. That's it. You know, and she brings her husband to task. But if you make her then the whole play falls apart. The whole theme of the play just doesn't land at all. So there's other things. I'm sorry, guys, I'm Catholic. There's a play called Dollhouse by Heinrich Ibsen, which is one of the first feminist plays about a woman in, 1870s in Norway, I think. And she decides that the marriage that she's in is so constrictive that she's got to get out and leave. But she has kids. But she decides to leave anyway because she absolutely is getting suffocated by the sexism in that house. And I played Torvald, who is usually played as such a sexist bastard that the play doesn't work because it's like a 3-hour play and the whole audience is just waiting for Nora to leave this guy because the audience can't stand him. And I told the director I was playing the role, and I said, look, this is not an indictment of Torvald. This has got to be an indictment of the whole society. So to do that, Torvald has got to be the most enlightened guy in town. He's got to be the most sensitive guy in town, the most loving guy in town. And he is still suffocating her. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense? And so and I had to fight for that one, but when we opened the play, we were doing the end of the play where she finally is talking to Torvald and she's about to leave him. And we hear this sound, and the actress and I are like, we're doing the scene, but both of us are like looking around at the audience like, what is that sound? And we realized it was people crying. They were so sad that these people had to break up, but it was obvious they had to. So there's so many. God, I could go on and on. But those are two.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
I desperately just need like a little soundbite of you going, what up?
B-I-T-C.
I'm gonna do that from now on. It's still not. It's gonna be my new thing.
I'm a dad.
My question, during the Buffy series and the continuation in Angel, what was your favorite episode?
Wow. It's like I have hundreds of children and you want me to choose one? That's so hard. I have favorites. Don't tell them. Fool for Love that we talked about before. I love doing stunts because I came from stage, and in the stage you don't get a stunt man. You know, so when I came to Hollywood, I was like a stunt man. Give me a break, you know, I got this. So I actually did probably too many of my own stunts because in Hollywood you do it on concrete, which is a whole different thing than doing it on a wooden stage. A wooden stage is like a trampoline compared to what they do in Hollywood. But so in Fool for Love, I got to fight 3 amazing stunt women who played the 3 Slayers. 3? Was it 2?
It's 3.
It's Nikki.
Boxer Rebellion.
Boxer Rebellion. Was it 3? 2.
Boxer Rebellion, the New York Train, and then what was the other? There was another one.
It was 2. That's why we can't remember. So, what the Boxer Rebellion was Bruce Lee's second cousin, Ming Lee, who is the deadliest human I have ever met in my life. She is not a large person, but she is fast, and she is specific, and she's liquid, and there's power in that. And thank God she's a nice person. She could do so much. God. But like she teaches at this dojo to this day. But like I offended her because I was excited to have a sword because I know sword work, but I never got a sword on Buffy because you have fangs as a vampire. You don't need like a weapon. You have a weapon. But I had a sword that day, and so I was like, "Bing, this is fun!" And I kind of flourished too close to her, and she kind of went, and she just took her sword and just went thwap right up my nose. Like, sorry. But I got to fight her again in Marvel's Runaways, and she was doubling a teenage character. And she had not lost a step. She was just as fast, just as liquid as she ever was, and I was a little older. And I was like, Ming, slow down. I cannot keep up with you anymore, man. But we got it done. So that was definitely a favorite. The musical, for sure, one of the best.
Yeah.
And then The Body, actually, which is, I wasn't in that one, but I think that one was one of our best ones. We proved that we didn't need vampires, actually. It could just be a drama about a young woman that's losing her mom. Yeah, those are my 3 favorites.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, clap.
So I don't know how often you've been asked about this, but I'd like to hear the story of how you got brought on to do the Dresden Files audiobooks.
I have no idea. Like, I had never done one before. And apparently Jim Butcher, I guess he saw Buffy and knew I was faking it with my little accent and everything. I don't know, man. But it was hard. Like, reading a book, I thought it was just like, I'm just gonna sit in a chair and read a book. Like, how hard can that be? But that is hard. Because it's like, every sound has to be perfect. So you're like, it was 10 o'clock in the morning, and I would... Sorry, James, that 10 was a little bit sibilant. Can you go back to that? Okay. It was 10 o'clock in the morning. No, so o'clock was not quite right. Can you go back to that, please? And with the Jim Butcher books, I get into it, and I get passionate, and like I'm often crying. If it sounds like I'm crying, it's because I am. And so when you get interrupted, when you get emotional about something, and they start interrupting you like that, oh my God. And I remember when I came back for lunch for the first day, they were surprised. Like they said, most of the time, television actors that try this job, they don't come back for lunch. And we have to call the agent and try to get them back. You just came back on your own. Good for you.
Yeah. And as to the whole getting emotional thing, you definitely get a lot of listeners emotional in changes.
Yeah, I mean, like I get kind of self-conscious about it because I'm a guy and we're trained to be ashamed of being vulnerable in that way, you know. And so, like, you're reading it, you just gotta stop 1 second. And then I killed her. And like, so it's really embarrassing. And then I get to the end of the chapter and the director's like, that was really good, James. Let's take a break, okay? Yeah, okay. But yeah, they're really good books, and if you give over to it, they do all the work, and they carry me as a narrator like they carry the audience. You know, there's an emotional impact to going through that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Man.
How did you feel about the one season of Dresden Files that they put out with Paul McElroy?
I did not see that. I did not see that. What I heard is they didn't give it enough of a budget, and so some of the characters had to be changed. Like Bob the Skull was actually a person.
Yeah. So I love the guy who was Bob the Skull, and I don't remember his name, but he was amazing. But if they had just made him like maybe a more disembodied presence.
Well, I think it's kind of a Harry Potter situation where if you just spend the money to do it like it's written, it would be a big hit.
He was an amazing Dresden.
Right on.
Amazing. Bunch of jerks for canceling that.
Yeah.
Them and the Firefly guys, man. Jump right off a cliff.
Some things are too good for TV.
Hi, Mr. Master. Big fan. Favorite episode of Buffy was Once More with Feeling, and the best song was yours. I always sing it. Anyway, have you ever been offered, or have you ever been interested in playing Doctor Who? Because you will make a great Doctor Who.
I would like to play that role. Yes. Oh God, that would be great. Yeah, that would be life-changing. Yeah. I don't think an American has ever done it, but I'm willing to, put on the old accent already.
So you haven't pursued it? Like I know some actors that go after a role. Have you asked?
No. I really should, shouldn't I?
Yes. I see you as the savior of Doctor Who. Because right now, the show is not that good. You'll be the one.
I'm just used to. There's like what I want to happen, and then there's reality. You know? And I'm trying to be like more happy about what actually is, rather than upset about what is not. And so, but you're right. You got to fight for some things. Or like I could say that I'm interested in, and then it would be their decision about what I'm going to do that. I'm going to have my manager do it.
Everybody start a hashtag called #MarstersWho.
Yeah. Because my kids are in college, I could move to England for a few years. That'd be fine. Go get monkeypox.
Team Rocket.
Yes, so bad.
Hi, James.
Hey.
I'm James.
Hell yeah.
I'm actually James.
Very good name. You don't go by Jim.
No, no. Do not call me
right?
Jim. Do not call me Jim. Or Jimmy, Jim Bob, Jimbo.
No, Jim. Like I was Jimmy when I was young, and then I decided at about 12 that I want to be Jim like my dad. And that lasted for, and I made everyone switch over, right? And that lasted for like 2 months. I was like, it ain't Jim either. It's James. It's definitely James.
Maybe when I'm 60. That's a good 60-year-old name.
Yeah, no, James. It's got so many warm sounds.
Yes.
It's all warm, great sound. Jim. Hi, Jim. How you doing, Jim? It's over before it begins. Yeah.
I feel you 100%.
This is my business. This is what I do. This is great name.
Or if you want to be fancy, you can be Samaj. Okay, my question actually has to do with Runaways, kind of, sort of.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy playing the characters? Twofold question. Did you enjoy playing the character, and also, like, hypothetically, I know it's not really your decision, but if you had a choice in the future, would you reprise the role, or would you start over with a different Marvel character?
Oh, I would love to do Victor Stein. Yeah, I love that character. Because, I mean, I used to argue, how many people know Runaways? Okay, the rest of you had some homework to do. Basically, it's about a bunch of adults that make a deal with an alien that they'll get a bunch of technology that can save Earth if they keep the alien alive long enough to give it to them. But the alien just is asking for a small favor. He needs to eat one teenager a year. So if you're willing to murder one teenager a year, we'll save the planet. But he never gives them the technology because he's a... So, I also used to argue that Victor Stein was the biggest hero of the whole thing. And I would do this to journalists. They'd be like, you're murdering people. And I'd be like, okay, well, let's talk about that. So I'm playing a character who devoted his life to trying to find a new energy source, like fusion power, because we got to stop burning things for energy, like cavemen. It's killing us. And he comes to middle age and he's failed. He hasn't got it done. And this alien gives him this deal. And I said, what would you do? Would you let all of humanity die so that you could go to your grave with a clear conscience? Or would you cut one moral corner and let people spit on your grave? You know, that's what Victor's doing. You may call me a villain. You can call me a horrible man, but I'm gonna let you live. Spit on my grave, it's okay. And he makes that deal. And they're like, I never thought of it that way, James. But wait a minute, you're beating your son. Well, let's talk about that one. I said, my son has 178 IQ, and he's getting C's in high school. Now, at what point do you stop saying, great job, son, you'll do better next year? And at what point do you put the hammer down, man? The guy needs some discipline. Now, I can argue that I'm going too far that way, but is it worse to go too far that way or too far and letting them get away with that? And they're like, I never really thought of it that way, Jim. I'm like, just kidding, Victor's horrible. But I love a man that loves his son and loves his wife that much and made a horrible mistake that he can't get out of. That was a great role. Yeah.
Great, it was a great show. Is there a Marvel character you would prefer to do if you could?
They're all taken.
They're like hypothetical. No, there's actually a few more that are left, but yes.
I mean, it's Marvel. They're never all taken.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Again, we're bumping up against this problem. Like, I've never sat and thought about that. Because there's, like John Lennon says, life is what happens when you're busy making other plans. So like, what do I want to have happen? They'll call me for another role, you know? I have no idea. What? Loki. Just telling somebody in line, that's the one guy that I'm jealous of, is Tom Hiddleston, because that role is amazing.
Well, there are a lot of vampires in Marvel.
Try Morpheus. Save that role. Anyway.
Watching Angel, I loved watching the story arc with Spike, from Drew to Buffy, and then the great sacrifice and all that. And I thought, Spike's been great, Spike's done. And then you got to come back on Angel. What was it like starting a new series? I know it's Whedon, it's some commonalities, but did it feel like it's a fresh start, I can do something new? Or what did you think? How did it feel?
My favorite part of Buffy was the beginning. Because, okay, when you play a secondary character on a TV show, most of the time you're like, good idea, Buffy. What do we do now, Buffy? You got it, Buffy. Now, Buffy? Okay, guys, Buffy says it's okay, let's do it. You know, that's kind of the thing. But I was the one person to be like, You're stupid, Buffy. We're all gonna die. You know? Like, that is a good role. And then Spike falls in love with Buffy. I'm like, what we do now, Buffy? Oh, it's okay, Buffy? Would you like a cup of tea, Buffy? You know? And so, like, I lost that role, you know, that part. And then I got over on Angel, and I was like, oh, this is the good old days. I'm here to give this man a headache. You know? I'm the one person he is stupid, you know? And just sneer at him, you know, like, oh, it's just gold. You know, so it felt like a return kind of to the original Spike. Even though he had a soul, he still hated him. You know? And David and I got along great, man. David and I got along so well. But it was just, when they called action, I just loved ripping him to shreds. We're trying to.
We enjoyed it too. Thank you.
Raven, waiting so patiently.
Hi, so Once More with Feeling is my favorite episode. I watched it every year for my birthday. I have two kind of questions. How was it to make Spike break out into song?
Okay, first of all, I have to admit to a huge mistake. I sang that song without an accent. Go listen to it again. Let me rest in peace. Let me get some sleep. It's not a British guy. What the hell? You know? But Mick Jagger kind of sounds American when he sings rock and roll, so kind of get away with that one. So yeah, anyway. I was comfortable singing publicly because I was already in a band. We were already performing at that time. Tony Head was already comfortable singing because he was doing albums already. So he and I were unfazed by singing. The rest of the cast, you have got to be kidding me. Like, Sarah asked if she could. She was serious too. Can I please juggle chainsaws? That is safer for my career than singing. You're gonna ruin me, you know. Like you hired me to be a one-camera dramatic / comedic actor. That's what I do. That's what I'm trained for. And now you're gonna send me out in front of millions of people doing something that I don't think I can do. You're killing me, you know. But she rocked it anyway. You know? So did everybody else. But yeah, that part was easy for me. I didn't think the songs were good. I was wrong. I admit that, but I'm a punk rocker, and Joss sent us cassette tapes of him singing the song. As a singer, he's a great writer. And it was just him plunking around on the piano singing the songs, and like we all had the same reaction. Like we all got this cassette tape and for lunch one day, and we all came out after about 15 minutes, and like we were all holding up the cassette tape going. So, you know, it sounded kind of cheesy. But he wouldn't be deterred. You know, none of the producers would be deterred when they made us do it, and it worked out. So yeah. But then, it did work out, and by the end of filming, we kind of knew it was working, and we were getting a little bit proud of ourselves. Like, we're actually really good at this. You know? And then Hilton Battle came to town, and Hilton played Sweet. And Hilton is a double Tony Award-winning Broadway actor. And he laid that whole scene down in 2 takes. Every little move, boom, bang, smack, whack, boom. And we're being filmed watching him, and we're just like, oh, that's how you do it. Oh, we're screwed. But we got away with it, yeah.
And then the other reason why I love that episode, Spike and Buffy finally kiss. Were you excited for that moment for Spike?
Oh, yeah. That wasn't actually the first time Sarah and I kissed. That was... No. Do not take it from the set. Because normally when you date someone and you break up, you don't have to see that person anymore. But if you date someone for the set, you're going to be working with them for years, and you might have to kiss them. So no, I don't date from work ever. Sarah, I love her to dearly, but she's like a sister. Yeah, kind of. So when Faith was in her body, then it was Sarah and I doing a kiss, and that took forever. Because Sarah is really good. Like if you kiss with passion and you're an actor about it, like I was, you mess up. Your face goes like, and it looks horrible. And you have to approach a screen kiss like a stunt. Like in a stunt, you can't try to hurt somebody. It doesn't work. It's like a dance more than anything else. So Sarah just kept saying, like, James, we know you're such a great actor. We know you're a passionate man, but you've got to leave that behind. You've got to just paint by numbers here. Because it was like, take 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We got up to 14. And she's like, James. And I finally just painted by numbers, and we got a great kiss. I mean, it looks great. But I had to stop caring in that way. Yeah. So by the time we got to that kiss, I was like, okay, I know what to do, Sarah. Don't care. Gotcha.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
So we have about 5 minutes. We'll try to get through. Every time we do a panel, like we want it to go on for another hour because everybody has really, really, really good questions. So, but we'll try to get through. I think we have like 4 people. 4 people. We can do this. Go.
Okay, so with some rumors that they might do a Firefly series on Disney Plus, will you be interested in being part of that?
What series?
Firefly. You were supposed to guest star Firefly at one point.
Oh my God, I'd love to. Yeah, because Spike was going to be on Firefly.
Yes.
Yeah, because he's a vampire. So. Yeah, I mean, like there was a point where Joss took me and toured. He showed me all the sets on Firefly, and he had me meet all the cast and everything. And I was like, "Why are you being nice? I have no idea why you're doing this." But because he wanted to know if I'd get along with him. We got along great, and he was going to put me in, and then they got canceled. See?
You know, Nathan is here. Maybe you guys should just do your own little scene.
The problem now is
put it
that
out
I
in the
have
universe.
aged. That's the problem. They've been like, Spike, you look terrible. Space ages, it's radiation. Don't mention it. Don't mention it at all.
Oh, we can just write a little twist. We could just say when you get your soul back, you start aging slowly.
Yeah.
There
You
you
worry
go.
all the time.
You can do that because it's writers. Okay, go.
Just like, give me a face.
That's some work done.
Okay, so if you could choose a character you have performed as to another universe you performed in, who would you choose and why?
Did not get the first part of that. Can you say it one more time?
If I could be in any universe,
You could choose to send any character you have performed as to another universe you've performed in. Who would you choose and why?
wow. Again? I would like Spike to go to another universe, and he would be the Watcher for another. You know, he would be brutal. He'd be like, "No, you look stupid. Do it again." No, you would have won the fight, but you look dumb. Do it again. That would be awesome. Yeah. So yeah, like another universe with like a different Slayer. Yeah.
Good question.
Great question. You have great cosplay, by the way. And by the way, you are Slayer size. You are the same height as Sarah Gellar. We met. Yeah.
My question is the Puppet Angel episode from Angel. How many takes did it take for you to get your butt kicked by a puppet? I probably couldn't help but laugh.
That was one of the most humiliating, not for the reason you think. Okay, so like there's actor stunts. There's the kind of stunts they let an actor do, because like if you even get a little cut on your face, then for continuity it just messes with continuity because they shoot out of order. And so even if you get a little cut in the scene, once it's cut together, the cut will appear, disappear, appear, disappear, appear, disappear. So they don't let you do all the stunts. So you have this stunt man to do all the cool stuff. And I always felt guilty that I only did the easy stuff, you know, but I was getting the credit. And this day was the worst for that, because like I come in and I do the shot, "Oh, Angel, you're a puppet, you look dumb." And then he kicks me or he punches me, Spike sails 18 feet up in the air And so Steve Tartaglia was stunt Spike. He was the other guy playing Spike, right? He was a stunt man for Spike. So they put him on a wire and just pulled him up, just jacked him so fast, 18 feet up in the air, and dead dropped him onto concrete. That's how they got that shot. And Steve is a maniac. They've dropped him, and he's just twitching and laughing on the ground. It's like, that was horrible. and he has to wait there until I come over, and I have to very carefully look at his body position, and then he rolls out of it, and I roll into it, and we match. And then they offered me a pillow while they got the shot ready, and I was like, oh, for God's sake, no, I don't need a pillow. Oh my God. Steve's going to the hospital. I don't need a pillow. God. So, Steve didn't go to the hospital. But there was a couple shots where I was beating myself up with the puppet. I did that. There was a couple of shots because the hands are on sticks, and there was a couple of shots where they couldn't keep the puppeteer out of the shot because of the angle. And so I was like, oh, give me the sticks. I can keep my hand out. Just for one or two. Right on, man.
Thank you.
Okay. Here we go.
Hi. I have missed you around the convention circuit for the past 5 years, non-pandemic excluding. I'm from Los Angeles, so we have been 2 ships in the night, so how you doing? But my actual question for you today is, outside of the writer's specter, how would you have imagined Spike's story to go on? What would you have liked to see from him as an actor, whether it's losing his soul, going crazy, interrupting the musical and telling everyone to sod off, or, in your wildest dreams, what would you have liked to see Spike do?
Yeah, I actually wrote a comic book about this, about my idea about what happens to Spike after Buffy.
I read it, I haven't, but... Didn't
but
know if that was sanctioned or your actual idea, so thank you for that.
Yeah, that was like, how do you start a redemption arc for Buffy? Because my favorite line in Buffy is when Buffy says, I love you, he says, no, you don't, but thanks for saying it. Because to me, that is Spike saying, I know I'm not good enough for you. Yet. Right? Like, I am beneath you. And what I gotta do is I gotta go out into the world and figure out what to do with this soul. I gotta grow up. And as soon as he feels like he's done that, he's coming back to Sunnydale and they're getting married. Which happens in the comics. Thank you. Suck it, Angel. I win. So the whole thing is like, if you're going to do a redemption arc a vampire redemption arc in the Buffy universe, how do you not retread Angel? So if Angel is a mythic character and he's always in a mansion and big fireplace behind him sipping port wine, what about my soul today? Like, Spike should be the opposite of that, and he can't kill anyone for lunch, so he should be starving to death. He can't steal anything to clothe himself, so his clothes should be falling off him, and he can't get any new clothes. He should have trouble finding places to sleep because he can't sneak in illegally because he's got this soul that's bothering him to do that. So he should really be in trouble.
Don't you hate that when your soul and your conscience gets the best of you?
Right? Yeah.
It's nonsense. Anywho, happy Friday. Thank you.
My pleasure. Guys, you are fabulous. Okay. Love you all. Come to my table, we'll keep talking.